Hi, my name is Vyom Dwivedi, and this is a presentation. And this presentation is a psychological case report on Bruce Wayne from Batman Begins. I'll be analyzing his behavior through a clinical lens and discussing whether his actions align with the antisocial personality disorder using DSM-5 criteria and empirical research. The goal of this presentation is not to evaluate Batman as a hero or villain, but to understand his psychological functioning based on the behaviors we see in the film. So, Bruce Wayne from Batman Begins, or aka Batman, is a wealthy heir who witnesses the murder of his parents as a child. This early trauma shapes his emotional development and fuels a lifelong fixation on justice and revenge. The background of the story takes place in Gotham City, a crime-ridden, corrupt environment where traditional institutions like the police and justice system have largely collapsed. Violence, fear, and distrust are normalized, and the community increasingly turns to vigilante figures for protection. This cultural setting helps explain Batman's behavioral choices because his aggressive methods are seen as necessary instead of pathological. The disorder associated with Batman's behavior is antisocial personality disorder, aka APSD. Antisocial personality disorder. ASPD, which is defined by a persistent pattern of disregarding and violating the rights of others. In Gotham City's cultural context, a therapist might hesitate to pathologize him because aggression and rule breaking are socially rewarded when used against criminals. However, based strictly on behavior rather than intention, he meets diagnostic criteria. ASPD is recognized across cultures, but research shows that prevalence and interpretation vary based on cultural norms surrounding aggression, obedience, and justice. For example, in the empirical research by Zhao, found that cultural settings significantly influences both diagnosis rates and the public views of antisocial traits. In Western culture, ASPD carries strong stigma. Individuals with antisocial traits are often labeled as dangerous or immoral, which discourages seeking treatment and increases social rejection. So for the evidence of Batman's diagnosis of ASPD, symptom 1 displays aggression and violation of others' rights. A clear example is the scene where he assaults multiple criminals in the dockyard using extreme physical force without regard for legal consequences. Another example for this same symptom is when he drove the Batmobile through a lot of police cars, just creating havoc and overall. The second symptom is deceit and manipulation, shown when Bruce maintains a false persona in social life and uses a deception to gather information and influence allies and enemies for Batman. A symptom that Batman does not strongly demonstrate is consistent irresponsibility. Despite his violent actions, he still runs Wayne Enterprises, manages finances, and maintains responsibilities for his company. According to DSM-5, aggression and deceit are core diagnostic criteria for ASPD, while irresponsibility is not required in every case. Empirical research by Moffitt in 1993 supports this by showing that aggressive and manipulative traits are more central predictors of antisocial patterns than financial irresponsibility. Treatment for this diagnosis of antisocial personality disorder would be cognitive behavioral therapy with anger management and social skills interventions, which research shows can reduce antisocial behavior by challenging harmful thought patterns and improving emotional regulation. Cognitive behavioral therapy fits ASPD because it focuses on identifying triggers for aggression and learning nonviolent coping strategies. However, there are ethical concerns. Therapy may require revealing Batman's identity, which raises issues of confidentiality and public safety. Forced treatment also conflicts with autonomy. There are also cultural and societal barriers. Gotham glorifies vigilantism and rewards antisocial behavior that is used for quote-unquote justice, reducing motivation to change. Oliver, with the empirical research, demonstrates that Treatment outcomes for individuals with antisocial traits depend heavily on motivation and social environment, which makes successful treatments difficult in Batman's context. The broader perspective for this diagnosis. The film partially portrays ASPD accurately by showing aggression, emotional detachment, and a lack of concern for the rights of others. However, it also glamorizes the disorder by framing these traits as heroic and necessary, which is not always the case. This creates an incomplete and exaggerated representation of antisocial personality disorder. More broadly, portrayals of mental disorders in film shape public understanding. When characters with ASPD are shown as violent vigilante heroes or villains, audiences may develop stereotypes that disorder always comes with anger, crime, or immorality. This can increase stigma and reduce empathy towards real individuals with the actual diagnosis. This slide lists all research sources used throughout the presentation in proper APA format. And thank you so much for listening to me talk and analyze Batman's case with ASPD, aka antisocial personality disorder, and its diagnosis, evidence within the movie, and treatments. Thank you so much.